Welcome to Bitching About Movies. This is the What to Watch This Week episode for March 5th through March 11th, aka WTWTW, where we discuss what's coming to theaters, streaming services, and home viewing for the week. This is Frank. I'm going to review Atlanta, Season 2, Episode 1, Wind River, and some other stuff. I'm joined by Matt.
Hello. Sorry, guys. My voice isn't where it needs to be this week, so Frank's going to be doing a lot of the steering this time.
I'm sure some people are upset. But before we get to all of that, how about The Shape of Water winning Best Picture? I mean...
What a shock.
See, I feel like I saw it coming.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still a little skeptical.
What a crowning achievement for the producer, director, and actors.
Yeah, all those actors
of that film.
Don't forget the writers. Those writers, man.
It was one thing I can say about the film.
It was certainly a movie.
It was written, it was directed, and produced. Like most great things, we like to start with previews, with trailers. I think we're going to disagree some. I think we've agreed too much recently, which is just going to happen sometimes.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think I'll surprise you on a couple of these.
Okay, maybe we'll. Up first, I'd say, inarguably, is the biggest trailer of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2, in theaters November 21st. What do you think?
No, thank you.
Okay. So I said, like, obviously, I don't know if you're a big Chappelle Show fan, but it's ripping off that one. Do you remember that bit? I
don't remember the skit at all.
So, yeah, Dave Chappelle has a skit where he's walking through the internet like a mall, and he has a shopping bag, and it's like all the services the internet provides.
I mean, Futurama's done that gag, too.
And there's like a big store that just says free porn, and he just runs in there with a shopping bag. But it's done before, and so the first Wreck-It Ralph I liked because it was a cool piece of nostalgia, and it brought a lot of licenses together that you would never think.
Yeah, but they were all like quick little cameos. There wasn't any weight to it. It wasn't like Toy Story where it's like, oh, Slinky Dog's hanging out with Green Army Men and you're and Mr. Potato Head. Like, for me, Wreck-It Ralph, the first one was actually a disappointment. I didn't like it very much.
Okay.
I thought
it was fun.
I don't feel like it did anything unique or interesting, really. Like, oh, Sonic's in there for a second? Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I felt like it still had more of a purpose than this one. I mean, some people have brought up that this could be a good chance to discuss like the toxicity of internet culture. I don't know if Wreck-It Ralph's going to tackle that. I mean, it could in a kid way, and that could be something of value, and that could be something interesting. I
don't see that happening. This is like the classic example of a forced sequel where there really doesn't need to be one. And it's like, oh, where are we going to take these video game characters? I guess to the internet. Yeah. It fucking writes itself, and it feels lazy.
Yeah, I'm not expecting much. Okay, so I thought you'd be with that, because
nope.
Usually, I mean, that speaks a lot, because Wreck-It Ralph should be right up your alley, and you just don't care about it.
It should be, and I remember being excited for it when it first came out, seeing it in theaters, and then walking out going like, man, I fucking hated that movie. And I've warmed up to it a little bit more since then, but the first time I watched that movie, I was really, really let down.
Yeah. I just remember kind of liking it. I never watched it again. I probably never will. So
it's an inoffensive kind of bad movie in my opinion. I think a lot of people like it. It is popular, and I like John C. Reilly. I like Sarah Silverman. It's got a good voice cast, but yeah, I just ultimately don't give a shit about that world.
The best comment I saw on it is Matt Singer, who's a film critic. He said, you can call it Wreck-It Ralph 2, Break the Internet. I want to call it Tron C. Reilly. And there's some like artwork of it.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Hey, John C. Reilly's making money, doing things. I can't hate on that. There's going to be a lot of HBO movies that we talk about this month because they're starting to roll out their schedule.
Yeah, they are.
The first of which, Fahrenheit 451, the adaptation of the dystopian future. It's a terrifying, carefree future. A young man, Guy Montag, played by one of my favorites and newly favorited by Matt, Michael
not a
B.
favorite,
Jordan.
but not a least favorite.
You're coming around. Yeah. Maybe this could seal the deal. Maybe
it also has Michael Shannon, who I would say is one of my favorites.
Of course, yeah. So Guy Montag, he's played by Michael B. Jordan, a famous literary character. His job is as a fireman to burn all the books. He questions his actions after meeting a young girl, and then he starts to figure things out and possibly rebel against the society. The trailer doesn't show you much. You don't really need to see much if you're familiar with the book. I would say Fahrenheit 451 is like one of the 10 most popular books.
Yeah, it's
a
big.
modern time, right?
I don't think I've ever actually read it.
I haven't either.
This movie, I feel like a year from now, it's going to be the thing that high school kids watch instead of reading the required reading for their like English class. It's like, oh no, I totally read the book, but they really just watched the movie instead.
I mean, who didn't love when the teacher wheeled out the movie cart though? Like I wonder what it is now. Is it a projector? Like, is it just like?
It's probably just a flat screen on a cart. Yeah,
airplays it from her iPhone. Like I don't know how that works anymore. But yeah, those fucking movie carts were humongous. Like, anyways, I digress. I'm old. The final trailer is The Endless. And
I feel like we've talked about this before.
We did.
But there has been a second trailer that came out that showed you a little bit more of what the plot actually is.
This trailer is just longer. I mean, so I think I complain about trailers all the time. They tell you the whole movie. There's been think pieces written about how that has to be the case because you can't captivate anyone's imagination. I disagree. This just looks fucking weird and interesting. Cool. Like I'm in. Like I'm going to see this movie. It comes out in theaters April 16th. Looks like it's probably going to be hard to find. It looks like a limited run, but it just looks cool, man. I don't know what the fuck's going on, and it has a sense of like good production and good timing.
Yeah, what's it about? It's about these two like guys that left a doomsday cult and then like revisit it.
Like they grew up in it as children and then they escaped and they come back. Like something like they receive a video message that brings them back.
But it looks trippy. It looks cool. If anything, this new trailer, I would avoid it if this sounds interesting to you, because if anything, it hypes it up a little too much. It compares it to like It Follows and The Babadook, which anytime you draw comparisons to recently really popular movies, like I just feel like that's unnecessary hype.
Yeah, I feel like it reminded me more of The Ritual that I saw on Netflix and reviewed a couple episodes back. Like, I think if you're just into, like, mindfuck movies, like you said, like Matt says, we're going to tell you right now, like, you don't need to see it. It looks good. Like, just check it out if you want to go in cold. So that's a really good point. So, out of those three, I'm most excited for The Endless, honestly. I'm going to catch Fahrenheit 451 because HBO Go has been pretty shallow recently, so I'm just looking for a reason to click on that app.
I think you spoke too soon earlier because I agree with you 100% on all these trailers. I think you and I have them in the same order.
Shit. Well, something I think we're going to agree on is how the theatrical slate looks for Friday, March 9th.
It's grim.
I've already seen The Wrinkle in Time trailer enough. Like, it's one of those movies that I'm sick of and I haven't even seen it yet.
I'm not going to see this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not going to like it. It's going to be a fucking bore.
It's applauded for its cultural diversity, and I think what they did with like the screenings of the filmmaker's hometown and all that stuff, they did like a pop-up screening. That's cool, man, but it just looks bad. Like, it looks shiny, colorful, but just like generic as fuck.
Yeah, I won't even see this with Movie Pass. No, thank you.
Yeah, and I feel like putting someone like Oprah in there is a disservice. Like, she's an okay actress. She's like done some really good stuff, but she's just too big.
Yeah.
And too big as a star, not as an actor, where like I'm just gonna kind of dismiss stuff if that's your headliner. Like, put Reese Witherspoon's a great actress. And there's some good people in this, but I don't know. I don't know what the fuck it's about. Like, I've seen the trailer a million times, and it's probably spelled it out for me. I just don't care.
I feel like I read A Wrinkle in Time a long time ago, like when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old, and I barely comprehended it to the point where this trailer's unrecognizable. I don't feel like this is. This doesn't make any sense to me at all. And I'm pretty sure, that I read this book. So, I'm going to skip it.
It's not for us either, too. Like, it's a young children's movie, and I think the problem is, like, a lot of that stuff is, like, for everyone. Like, it's very palatable for...
If you love the fucking Chronicles of Narnia movies, I feel like this movie's going to be up your alley.
Yeah, or what was, like... There was a bunch of, like, lower level ones Disney put out. I can't remember them all, but
Around the World in 80 Days.
Yeah, stuff like that. Post Harry Potter, post Chronicles, like shit like this would be coming out every 6 months.
Yeah.
Stuff that is targeted towards me is trashy action movies. And the Hurricane Heist, I mean, the idea alone that the thieves attempt a massive heist against the U.S. Treasury as a Category 5 hurricane approaches one of its mints. Like, that's interesting to me. I just need a Gerard Butler. I need, like someone to carry the faith into this movie.
Who's in this? Is anyone in this?
No, it's got, like, a Sharknado level of cast. It doesn't even have, like, any old, like, has-beens. It's got a bunch of... I don't want to shit on people, because I'm telling you, Hurricane Heist is a great idea. It's just, I guess, The Rock passed that one up somehow. Like, if The Rock could clone himself, he'd be in this fucking movie, because he hardly says no to shit like this. But it's out there. Like, if you just want to see something ridiculous, I mean... the heist in the middle of a Category 5 hurricane.
Yeah, and
it sounds fun.
And if you like heist movies, you should go back a couple episodes and listen to our heist movie episode. We usually do like every week we like to pick a topic that isn't just previewing what's coming out. And we our most recent topic I think was heist movies.
Yeah. No bad weather heist, but that was a hell of a segue too.
Yeah.
That was all ad lib. Another movie I've been shitting on almost as much as A Wrinkle in Time, Gringo. Man, it just looks so bad.
Yeah, we've talked about the trailer before. It's another one that like it could have been good. It's got Charlize Theron, David Oyelowo.
She's slumming it in this.
Yeah, but come on, man. Like,
also, there's no reviews out for this yet. It comes out in a week. Like, that's a horrible sign.
That's not good.
It looks like such a straight-to-video fucking 90s comedy. It's like, back when I worked at Blockbuster, we would get, like, Blockbuster exclusives, and it was kind of the way Netflix gets some of its exclusives now, where it's like no one wanted it. Like, they just sold it off.
Yeah.
And, it's just all the stuff that doesn't get wide releases.
It's
and
like
this gets a wide release based on just Charlize Theron.
Yeah, it looks like a comedic Breaking Bad almost, where they're trying to go, take the mild-mannered dude turning into a criminal and making that a comedy somehow.
Yeah, but even in the trailer, the jokes fall flat.
Yeah.
And, like, you should at least have 3 minutes worth of jokes.
Yeah.
And they probably gave you your best shit. Like, there's, like, the guy getting hit by a car, and it's, like, a bunch of physical comedy. And they took, like, a bunch of really good actors, because the people in it are, like, a lot of great actors. David Oyelowo, he was on
Oyelowo.
Yeah, like, he's great. Charlize Theron, Joel Edgerton, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's been popping up a lot lately.
Yeah, Amanda Seyfried, like, there's a lot of good people in this movie, but again, like, if you're going to make a comedy, put some comedians in there, please. Like, we've said this before, like, that's usually it's like the simplest thing. They fuck up, and that's why that movie's going to be bad.
Yeah,
I think. So I mean, you have like something mediocre for everyone though, because we got a horror movie too. Like first big horror movie this year, I believe.
Speaking of forced sequels, who fucking needed a sequel to The Strangers? Who needed that?
I mean, it's not like a it's not like a household name or anything, but.
No. And I saw that in theaters like years ago. I'm pretty sure I was still in high school when that movie came out. Like it's been a while. And
it had a pretty decent cast. I want to say Liv Tyler was in it. Was Glenn Howerton in it?
Glenn Howerton got his face shot off.
That's like the best part. Yeah, I thought that was that movie. But I'm gonna watch this. This will probably be my pick, just because the next movie we're gonna talk about, it was gonna be hard to find, I imagine, but. The level of acting in this is more in line with the typical horror movie, where I thought the first Strangers, like Liv Tyler, she's fucking Lord of the Rings. Like, she does big shit. I like Christina Hendricks. She seems like she just can't catch a break. She gets in these bad sequels, like Bad Santa 2 and stuff like that. Yeah. So it sucks for her. But I think this movie is going to make a lot of money because people want to go out and see horror movies, and there's not enough of them. You could pretty much put something like this, like a sequel or just something that has, like, an easy to digest plot, or an actor, every month. You could put one of these out every month and it would make money. I imagine this is going to make plenty of money. So, like I said, I'm probably going to see this just because my real pick, which is Thoroughbreds, is probably going to be hard to find.
We've talked about this one before, I think, right? Didn't we do the trailer
at one point?
Yeah, it looked interesting.
I'd say mainly because it's got Anya Taylor-Joy from Split, The Witch. She's doing cool stuff. I think she's a really interesting actress. Also, it's probably the last thing you're going to see Anton Yelchin in. Like, I'm surprised. Like, this got pushed back for a while because it's been, like, I feel like almost 2 years since his death, right? It feels like
it's been a bit, yeah.
What's this movie about? It's two upper class, like rich girls, in suburban Connecticut, which looks like fucking Mansionville for me, if I'm being a Maryland resident. They rekindle their friendship. After they grow apart, they come back from their private schools or whatever, and they hatch a plan to solve their problems. And it reminds me of stuff like Brick, like suburban noir, like suburban teenage noir. And I like shit like that. Yeah. And it's got like a smart style to it in the trailer. Like, it looks well done. It's got a bunch of interesting people that I don't really know the names, but like a bunch of cool faces besides the, aforementioned Yelchin and Taylor-Joy. Like, I like them. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I can see it in theaters. I can movie pass it. But it's probably gonna be something you have to rent unless you have like an art house theater.
Yeah.
What would your pick be?
Man, none of these. Probably Thoroughbreds, honestly. Okay. None of the other ones look interesting to me, and that's saying something considering since I've gotten Movie Pass, I'm like more agreeable to going and seeing shitty movies in theaters, and I don't want to watch any of these. I just don't want to.
Well, you can. Like, if you're not like us, like you're the audience right now, you could go see Game Night. We reviewed that.
I still need to see that.
Yeah.
That would probably be the next movie I see in theaters.
Go see Annihilation. Last weekly episode, we reviewed both of those.
Yeah.
Or catch up. I'm going to check out Red Sparrow. Normally I'd have a review for something this week I'll
probably see that at some point. Or go see Black Panther. I would love to see that for a second time, more so than any of these.
Or stay at home segue and watch some Netflix. Actually, a pretty good, interesting week for Netflix.
A lot of big stuff.
Yeah. Have you been following this Voltron Legendary Defender?
No, we watched. My girlfriend and I watched like the first episode, which is movie length, and just wasn't into it. I can see the appeal if you're into stuff like Avatar: The Last Airbender or Legend of Korra. It's got that kind of like anime adjacent vibe to it, where it is for a slightly older kid audience. I see the appeal. It's not really for me. I don't have any connection to Voltron as a kid. The thing I like the most about it is that the main character is voiced by the same guy that does Finn on Adventure Time.
Okay.
That was literally the only reason I watched it.
I picture like there's in the Netflix corporate offices, there's like head of nostalgia, because like that's a big part of Netflix. It's like, and it's I think we're completely blind. It's like our blind spot here.
Yeah.
It's like I don't watch Fuller House. I don't watch any of that shit, but people love it, man. Like Netflix is kind of responsible for like this whole like Will and Grace coming back and all this other stuff, like churning out this stuff that's been gone for years and people miss it.
Yeah, or picking up things if they've been dropped by other people, stuff like Longmire. You know, it's like, just give it to Netflix. They'll do it.
Up next, Jessica Jones season 2. You could have told me it was season 3 and I would have believed you. It's been that long.
It might as well be, because you did have the Defenders, and as much as I liked season 1 of Jessica Jones, I'm very apprehensive about season 2. Only because Defenders was so fucking awful.
Yeah.
It was bad.
I just think that, like, my issue with the first Jessica Jones, I like the first 6-7 episodes. It just went too long. Yeah. I don't understand. They need to trim. I think that's my number one complaint about all those Marvel, Netflix universe movies, is that they go on too long. Like, they cut the fat, man. I know, like, and I think they should, because that was like their big selling point when Daredevil came out, and I think Netflix has gotten bigger than that.
Yeah,
but I'm cautiously optimistic. Between
Iron Fist and Defenders, my faith in Netflix Marvel stuff has completely 180'd from this time a couple years ago. I'm gonna watch it. I think that they're doing more of an origin story spin this season. They're like trying to explore Jessica's roots and how she got her powers and all that stuff. So that's interesting. I don't think that's something the comics have really hit on too much. So it'll be new stuff for me at least. And they're teasing a return by David Tennant. I don't know if it's just going to be like in her head or whatever, but
they haven't announced like really much of the co-stars for the season.
No, one of the problems with the first season, as much as I liked it, was that if David Tennant wasn't on screen, the show was a little bit more boring.
Yeah, and the Kilgrave
relied
story
too much. Yeah,
was anticlimactic. Like it just like, to me, that season should have ended when that storyline ended and maybe carry on to next season. It just was drug out. And I think by far the best thing about it is Kristen Ritter is definitely in that class of like, this role was made for her.
Yeah.
/ she was made for this role. Like, she's perfect.
Yeah.
It's just everything around her needs to be better. Yeah, the first season, dude, was 3 years ago. I just looked up 2015. So they did let it breathe a little bit. And, I think it's time. I'm optimistic. I might check it out if you tell me it's good. What I'm definitely checking out, which is like one of... there's like maybe 10 things, film shows you can attribute as like to our show, bitching about movies, and Love is one of them.
Yeah.
Like, it's universally loved by us. It's something that, we tell all of our friends to go see. Like, I just champion the show because it's so good. I grew up on romantic comedies. Most of them suck. This one gets everything right, man. It's this and You're the Worst, but this has a lot less. It tones down the sarcasm.
Yeah, it's more sincere kind of show, but it is still a comedy, and there's still comedic things that happen in it. It's produced by Judd Apatow, so if you're familiar with his rom-com vibes, that's pretty much what you're getting here.
Yeah, which is like realistic characters that act like adults. Their problems are relatable. Their problems are real, and also in Love is like the cast from top to bottom is strong, like so strong. They could do a spinoff.
I say this every time we bring up Love, but Claudia O'Doherty as Birdie on this, like,
give me a Birdie spinoff.
New celebrity crush for me as soon as she was introduced.
Yes, yeah, she brings all the charm. So it's the third and final season. Like we said before, the cool thing about when you have like something with only 30 episodes is you can catch up right now. Like you can spend all of March watching Love, and you will thank us for it.
And I don't know if Netflix does the same advertising for everyone, but as soon as I log on to Netflix lately, it's been saying like, hey, Love season 3 is coming out. Time to rewatch the first season. Like the big, like the promo ad when you first log on.
It's
like,
different for everybody.
Watch the series now.
Mine's always the whatever the new stand-up comedy is, because I will just try out every fucking stand-up comedy. But yeah, it's target marketing.
Yeah, for sure.
And then finally, Love is March 9th, if we didn't mention that, by the way. But also March 9th is The Outsider. It's a Netflix original, a.k.a. something that was not going to really come out, and Netflix bought it up. I believe this was shot in like 2016 or 2017. It's called The Outsider. It's whenever we need to bring this up too. Whenever the description is kind of selling the movie, that's to me a red flag.
Yeah.
So the IMDb description of this is an epic set in post-World War II Japan and centered on an American former GI played by Jared Leto who joins the Yakuza. So it's like The Last Samurai meets, I don't know, the Yakuza video games. And the whole trailer is like, it looks like a bad TV show.
It does.
It looks like a TNT TV show, and it's a lot of angry Jared Leto walking. Like, he's angrily walking here, he's angrily walking there. Like, it doesn't really show me any production value or anything cool. Where's somebody getting sliced with a sword? I just see, like, people clapping at this funeral and Jared Leto walking to a restaurant. Like,
yeah,
what the
also,
fuck is
if
this?
you watch the trailer without reading a description of what it is, you would get no fucking clue what this movie's supposed to be about.
Yeah.
I'm skipping this. I don't like Jared Leto. This is supposed to be their like big release for this week, but I don't like him. I don't like the plot. Doesn't do anything for me really. It just seems like it's going to not be good.
It doesn't look interesting at all. And in sidebar, like Netflix needs to figure out a consistent schedule. Like this year, we talked about it. It's like 80 original movies. It's like 300 or some original properties altogether, and they can't get their shit together. Like, get a consistent release schedule. Like, if they just did Tuesday, Friday, and you knew, like, oh, this is Netflix Tuesday, this is Netflix Friday.
Yeah.
Just do one movie a week, do a show a week, and then like, so like in between the time we wrote up our article, you know, like there's a Boss Baby series coming out like next week too. Like they just sneak this shit out because they're trying to, I guess, capitalize on Boss Baby being nominated for an Academy Award. I almost guarantee you that there's something they're going to announce right around Oscar time that we're not going to know about.
Yeah.
Like they're going to put something out because everyone's watching the Oscars tonight, you know, so they're going to fuck with us. I guarantee you. So
I mean, after their Super Bowl stunt with Cloverfield Paradox, fucking anything's possible with Netflix.
Anything is possible, yeah. I still want them to do a thing where you think it's a movie and it's a different movie. Like, my goal was to always do that. That was my dream. They should do that.
Yeah.
Like a hidden movie where the whole movie itself is an Easter egg. Anyways, it's not just all about Netflix. I know it seems like it is sometimes. There's also other services, such as Amazon Prime, which Matt is maybe excited to finally see. Did you already see Power Rangers?
No, we talked about this a while ago. I tried watching it and just turned it the fuck off because it was so bad. It was so bad.
If you have to find out for yourself, it comes out March 8th. It's like the Ninja Turtles-fication of the Power Rangers.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's also on Hulu, which we'll get to in a little bit, but it's also on Hulu the day after. So Amazon and Hulu sometimes share a lot of similar movie releases. This is one of them. Power Rangers, for me, this movie fell into that category of I'll see it when I see it. It's superhero adjacent, so, you know, it was kind of on my radar, but I was never going to see this movie in theaters, and I was never going to, like, have my hopes up that this would be a good movie. So it's not. If you like Power Rangers from when you were a kid, maybe try it out, but don't get your hopes up. I don't remember particularly liking the show, but I remember having a ton of the toys. So my relationship with Power Rangers is very odd. But this movie fucking sucks. Don't worry about it.
I never liked the Power Rangers. Yeah, just watch Chronicle. Just go watch.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a great movie. Got my boy Michael B. Jordan, Matt's future boy, Michael B. Jordan in it. Yeah, that's like Power Rangers, but entertaining. Also, on Amazon Prime, this one's on March 10th, and it's got mediocre reviews, but I want to mention it.
It's got pretty bad reviews.
Yeah.
Last I saw it was at a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's 5.2 on IMDb. It's November Criminals. I mentioned just because it's got two of our favorite people, Chloe Grace Moritz and Ansel Elgort.
A.K.A. Baby Driver.
A.K.A. Baby Driver. Catherine Keener's in it, too. It's about a story where DC... This teen's friend is murdered, and they go on their own investigation. So, I mean, I like shit like this. You know, we're huge fans of Search Party. You know?
Yeah.
And I like this cast. So, I don't know. This is old school streaming days before like they bought their own stuff. I would have checked this out. This like Netflix 2014. Fuck yeah, I'm clicking on this. But it's out there, and some people like to watch stuff based on who's in it. So, if you want to see what Baby Driver's up to,
there you go.
It could be worth a watch.
Yep.
You want to go ahead and talk about Hulu?
Yeah, let's just move on. Move on to Hulu. So if you don't have cable, like myself, you can watch the Oscars on March 5th. They put them up on Monday. Yeah, just watch them the next day. I'm probably not going to. I just want to read a list of who wins.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
I'm going to stay up late and watch it. This is like something that just my family, my mom would always watch the Oscars and stuff, and we would do Oscar polls. So it's like tradition. I've never missed the Oscars. It's just something I watch.
Yeah.
And I think it's ridiculous. I think it means too much. And the Academy is like needs to get their shit together in many ways. But I'm still going to watch it live. So yeah, I can't imagine anyone streaming the Oscars.
But yeah, there's that. Also, a throwback pick for me, but definitely something I think I'm going to revisit, and I highly suggest if you haven't seen it that you do. Fantasia 2000 will be on Hulu on March 6th. This is a Disney movie from a few years back. I don't know if you're familiar with the original Fantasia.
Yeah.
Or the new one. It's all like classical music pieces set to animation, and they're basically long music videos for stuff with no lyrics, which
I could imagine
it is what it is.
Some people would take drugs and watch these things because they're very trippy.
Yes. Yeah. But Fantasia 2000 is awesome. One of my all-time favorite sequences from pretty much anything Disney is the Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin part of Fantasia 2000. Like I just
what's it look like? Because
it's like 2D animation. It's about the video part is like about a kid in New York City, and he's kind of going from all over town, and it shows you these peeks into other people in the city's lives, all while Rhapsody in Blue is playing in the background.
Cool. I remember like Fantasia and Fantasia 2000 are like some of the deepest shit Disney ever put out. There's some cool stuff.
There's some dark stuff in there too, and the original Fantasia has some really, really fucking dark stuff in it, like Night on Bald Mountain. And the dinosaur part, I forget which piece it is, but there's some dinosaurs that die in the original.
I just remember the one where the brooms or the mops are following Mickey.
Yeah, that's Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, that one's pretty dark too for a Mickey Mouse cartoon. But yeah, Fantasia 2000, I really like it. There's also, like, the original had its Mickey Mouse cartoon part. The Fantasia 2000 has a Donald Duck cartoon instead, and it's all set to Pomp and Circumstance, but it's him as Noah on Noah's Ark. So it's like a classic kind of Disney cartoon, but with this like classical music behind it, and it's a really great way to experience the music that you might not otherwise listen to, and it's fun. I think Steve Martin's the conductor in Fantasia 2000 as well.
That's interesting.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Steve Martin's like a big part of it too. So
okay. Yeah. I might watch that. I think you sold me. Also on Hulu, and Fantasia's March 6th. On March 8th, Knock Knock, the Eli Roth directed, Keanu Reeves starring thriller.
You told me recently that this movie wasn't too bad.
I like it. It's got bad reviews. It kind of takes like a lot of horror thriller tropes and spins it on its head, where like these two teenage girls are the aggressor and Keanu Reeves is the victim. And yeah, man, it just, the way it like slowly gets out of hand, and like all the like the thrilling, the jumps and the surprises are just like they hit so well. So
cool.
If you kind of give up on Eli Roth after watching Death Wish, he's still got talent, man. It's just got to be directed the right way. And I think Keanu Reeves is like very underrated. He's probably like, for as long as he's been like doing consistently good work, he's like probably one of the most underrated actors we got. When you think about it,
it's hard to see him as anyone other than Was he Theodore Logan in Bill and Ted?
See, you
or was
say
he Bill?
that,
He was Ted, right?
Yeah, he was Ted. But you say that, then you couldn't imagine being Neo, and then you.
I was gonna say those. I feel like he gets pigeonholed into either of those two. Like he's either the super serious action star, or he's the goofy, dumbass.
But you talk about all the greatness and great times he's given us. He's up there with Tom Cruise, and he's more consistent than those guys. As an action star, the worst he's done is stuff like Constantine, which is still really entertaining.
I don't know, man. John Wick 2 didn't need to happen. I turned that off pretty.
I agree,
pretty
but
quickly.
People love that movie. That was on a lot of people's top 5 lists, and respectable people too. So maybe that's. But the point is,
they're wrong.
Keanu Reeves is a movie star. I think just he stays out of the press and stuff. He's more reliable than we give him credit for, I think. And when I say we, I mean you guys, because I respect him. Finally, on HBO Go, they got some old stuff. They're kicking around. That fucking Live by Night, that cream-suited Ben Affleck movie.
Yeah.
God, I hate that suit.
Another one that he adapted from a Dennis Lehane novel.
Yeah, so this is based on a group of Boston-bred gangsters. Oh, Ben Affleck directed a movie. I almost wish he would have did that Batman, because it would have been in Boston somehow. You'd find out, hey, Batman, that Batmobile's wicked smart. This guy can't get out of fucking Boston. This movie looks terrible. It's a bunch of Boston-bred gangsters. They set up shop in balmy Florida during the Prohibition era, and they go against the competition, which includes the KKK. But just the cover looks ridiculous. He's in this ice cream man fucking cream suit that's too big for him, smoking a cigar. Why is he trying to make himself look cool? I don't get it. I have no interest in this movie.
Same.
Unless you just wanted me to watch it to trash it.
If you're an Affleck completist, here you go.
Yeah, if you're an Affleckian, I don't know. And then also, a couple years old, My Cousin Rachel. It's a period piece, horror-looking drama, starring Rachel Weisz, who I really like, and she cannot be in enough stuff, in my opinion.
She's great.
She's a great actress. This is about a young Englishman who plots revenge against his late cousin's mysterious, beautiful wife, believing her responsible for his death, but his feelings become complicated as he finds himself falling in love under the beguiling spells of her charms. So, is she a witch or voodoo, or is she just really hot? I don't know. If you're a fan of Rachel Weisz, you could watch this, or you just want to see this type of movie.
Yeah. Now, have you seen this before?
Mm-mm. No.
Yeah, I've never even heard of this one. Yeah. But you picked it out, so I assume there was a reason.
We talked about the trailer. I think it's worth mentioning because it's a major release. It was a theatrical release, and I think it's finally debuting on a streaming service. So,
cool.
In case you missed out on it. And then to wrap up our streaming segment, I have a PSA. I tried this out. I download all the apps for networks on my Apple TV. You could do Roku or whatever.
Yeah, I have them all.
Yeah,
on Roku,
I recommend even your NBC apps. If you want to go back, you can watch every episode of Knight Rider. There's a lot more accessibility in the app than just watching it on your cable box. So I've been checking those out. So just if you have your sign in for your cable provider, you can do that.
Yeah, there's so many different things. I've had a lot of success with the Stars app lately. They pretty regularly will update new movies. We really only hit on Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, and HBO because those are the big ones. Those are the ones that I feel like the majority of people have.
True.
But like you said, if you have Apple TV or a Roku like I do, there's so many fucking apps available. The amount of content, you really don't need to spend money unless you're dying to rent something and see it right away. Yeah. You really don't need to because there's options out there.
Yeah, and I help my dad with his cable bill because he's fucking he can't after the 1 year introductory rate. He's what the hell, it's jumped up.
Yeah,
so I managed that for him. I was I have his login. I was I can just use that to download all these apps because I'm a cable cutter.
There you go.
Yeah, just if you skis off of someone's Netflix, I'm maybe skis off their FX now too.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on there. You can watch every episode of The Simpsons on FX now.
Yeah, it's great. That's it for streaming. We always like to talk about what's on rental, if you somehow have a video store
or what's coming to disc that you can own.
Yeah.
And most of the time, VOD and disc are same day. So unless we say otherwise, these are all things that are on VOD and disc on the same day.
And these come out on Tuesday. Good old release day Tuesday.
DB Tuesday.
Yeah, which doesn't mean anything to anyone anymore. Pretty good slate though. The Woody Allen movie, Wonder Wheel.
This got panned. People didn't like this one.
Well, it came out right after the Louis C.K.
That's
stuff
true,
and the
yeah.
Weinstein. So, I'm not. It just looks weird to me. I'm not interested.
Yeah,
in the
it also
story at all.
just doesn't look good.
Yeah. You get if you missed Lady Bird, which is probably still running in theaters right now.
They've actually. I was trying to see a movie this week, and I really wanted to go see Early Man, but they've pushed a lot of the Oscar stuff back into theaters for this weekend, which I get it, but it's playing in lots of different places right now. So if you want to see it, there's your option there.
Really good coming of age story. We've talked about it. It's one of the titles of our podcast, so just search for that. You get a full-fledged review.
And then I'm really excited for the Blu-ray release of Thor Ragnarok. Definitely going to be buying this pretty soon after it comes out. Probably won't watch it. I mean, we're still doing our Marvel movie catch up before Infinity War, so I'll probably wait until it's spot in that list to watch it again.
Okay.
But I do want to own it. This is a movie that I would absolutely have in my collection.
Same. I've kind of switched to digital, which if anyone that knows me personally is was a huge change for me. I had the giant wall. You saw them after my big cut down. I used to have 1,000 DVDs, and I only bought one last year. It was the 4K Guardians. So I'm debating on Thor. Am I going to do another digital HD purchase, or am I going to pony up 10, 15 more bucks to have it on 4K?
Well, I'm definitely buying it. How about I just lend it to you and you watch it again and decide whether or not it's something you want in your collection?
That's fair. I mean, it's the most fun movie all year, probably.
Other than Guardians too.
It's a blast. Yeah, Guardians is just more than that, though.
True.
Guardians, I think, is a superior movie, but Thor is just straight up fun.
Speaking of Thor, let's just transition into what we've watched this week.
Man, we are segueing the shit out
because
of
I watched Thor this week.
Yeah.
So I was really still behind on my Marvel catch up before Infinity War, which is now I got to crunch even more time because
how's your exhaustion on this? Because you're not the only one I know doing this, and people are dying.
So let me take you from the beginning. Also, like I was saying, crunch time is now because they also pushed up the release of Infinity War to April 27th. So I have one fewer week.
Yeah.
So my whole thing was I thought my girlfriend and I were going to be watching these together. She got burnt the fuck out real fast. And she was like, you know what? Just watch Thor. I don't need to watch Thor with you. She went out of town this weekend. So I was like, all right, I'm going to sit here and watch Thor and some other shit that I don't want to subject her to.
Yeah.
And I like these movies a lot. Having watched Thor again recently, probably for the first time since I saw it originally in theaters, I really liked it.
Yeah.
A lot more so than I thought I was going to. There's problems with it. I think the biggest problem is Chris Hemsworth isn't at his most charming yet in these movies, because Thor as a character has a lot of potential, but in this one he's kind of just an asshole.
He's so green too as an actor.
Yeah, and the whole plot of this movie is that he becomes Odin kicks him out of Asgard and he becomes unworthy and he has to live life as a human and learn what it means to be worthy so that he can wield his hammer again and get the power of Thor back. And I'm not convinced his character arc in the movie. I'm not convinced that he learns his lesson, but they kind of force a lesson in there. So he's probably the weakest part of the movie. That being said, I think Asgard is visualized really well from the get-go. And it's interesting, too, because more so than something like the Captain America movies, and this felt more like Captain America, the First Avenger, than anything, because they came out in the same era, too. But because Asgard is a location in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that we revisit often, I felt like there was a lot of consistency there coming off of Thor Ragnarok. The city looked the same, everything looked the same, everything operated the same. So as part of universe building, it really worked. Also, Tom Hiddleston as Loki. I mean, before we had Michael B. Jordan as Eric Killmonger, he was Loki's probably the most interesting villain.
He could argue still is. But yeah, Loki's great. He's what makes Thor for me. So not to put you in the spot too much, but so I think we should probably go back real quick and what I want to know is what's essential? Would you say Thor? We'll start with Thor. Is that essential rewatch to prepare for Infinity War?
I'm biased because I do love these movies. I think every single one of these is an essential rewatch, especially if it's something like Thor or Thor 2, which you probably if you're like me, I'm a big Marvel fan, but those first two Thor movies I really only saw in theaters, and then that was it. I never really ever revisited them.
Same for me, yeah.
Yeah, I'm enjoying them all so far, and I'm watching them again in chronological order. So far I've done like Captain America 1, Iron Man 1 and 2, Incredible Hulk, and now Thor, and they're all good origin stories. I feel like even the parts of the movie that aren't the best, or the biggest thing with Thor was like plot progression was a little all over the place, but the characters are realized in a way that it just feels authentic, and it all feels like it's coherent, and it's all operating under the same rules in the same universe. You also get to see in the first Thor, like, that's where Hawkeye makes his debut. He doesn't really do much. They kind of shoehorn him in there, but it does feel like it makes sense for him to be there. You get lots of Agent Coulson. You get another Sam Jackson cameo at the after credit sequence. So it feels like I'm watching the same movie. I'm watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe just in pieces. That's all.
Cool. And so, yeah, I mean, you're doing God's work, man. You're doing, I can't do it. And I can't do it, but I'm glad you're doing it. Speaking of Marvel Cinematic Universe, I watched a Jeremy Renner movie.
Did you?
Yeah. Wind River kind of snuck up on me. We didn't get to preview it on Netflix. I think they're just dropping shit whenever they want.
Isn't Elizabeth Olsen in that one too? So also, you've got two Marvel characters in there because she's Scarlet Witch.
Yep, they kind of team back up in this one. And it's an interesting murder mystery. Takes place in the, in the Native American territory of North America, I believe. They probably tell you, but I'm so bad geographically with these movies. It's about a veteran tracker played by Renner, and he's with the Fish and Wildlife Service, and he starts off with him like hunting wolves. So he maintains like the predator population in this area, and he helps investigate the murder of a young Native American woman, and uses his tracking skills. And the FBI, the young FBI agent is, you mentioned Elizabeth Olsen, and they're trying to solve this mystery. And, he's not really a police officer, but he knows this land. Like, he's one with the land. And it's also a way of him seeking redemption because he's also lost his young daughter. Okay. So there's some depth in there, too. And it starts off, I think, a little jumpy. Like, I heard a lot of great things about Wind River. I'd say the first 20 or 30 minutes, the dialogue was really skeptical. It's very basic, and even Elizabeth Olsen's performance progresses a lot throughout the movie. She, by the end, you buy onto her character, but I could see people being really skeptical in the beginning, like, Frank, why did you recommend this movie to me? But it's a really good murder mystery, and Jeremy Renner is on some fucking action hero shit, man. He's got this whole set. He doesn't really say much, but he's intimidating, and it's like that John Wayne thing. He's not even the biggest dude in the room, but you just know he's a badass. He sells you on that fact that he could pretty much take out anyone in this. Okay. So he does a really good job. I like mystery movies, murder plots. It's really well done in that way. I think the setting of a desolate land that is just covered in ice and snow, which this entire movie is just fucking bright white snow. I think it's always a good setting. It's going to remind you of Fargo and stuff like that. Cool. And the last third of the movie, last 20, 30 minutes is really fucking good. It gets really intense.
That's where it's do or die for murder mysteries too. Because if it doesn't come together in the third act, you've wasted the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, for sure. The third act takes this movie. I wouldn't say saves it because I was interested the whole time, and I watched this at midnight on Friday, so it could have easily fell asleep, and it kept me up the whole time. So if you're just looking for a quality, crime drama, murder mystery type movie, I'd highly recommend it for that.
It's not the first time that we've done this, but any movie that we can recommend because it didn't make us fall asleep I think that's a worthy compliment.
Yeah, and I think Jeremy Renner's he's an interesting actor because I liked his Bourne. Did you see his Bourne?
No,
I forget which one it was. He's got something, man. He's quiet. He does a lot with just being quiet and just a lot of facial expressions and things like that.
But he's also good at the comedy stuff, like him as Hawkeye. He's the great combination of action hero and smart aleck.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's just missing the right role of being in that Bradley Cooper sphere, because I think he has the same type of skills where he can play comedy and he can play action. He just picks these indie movies that don't pick up like theme like that. But yeah, Wind River, I definitely would recommend that if you're looking for something good to watch on Netflix.
Cool. Let's go 3 for 3 on movies featuring Jeremy Renner.
Oh shit!
Because I finally got around to watching The House.
I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, he's in it just for a minute, not for long. We've talked about this movie before. Frank recommended this. This is on HBO now. It's Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler playing parents whose daughter is denied a scholarship that their town usually promotes, so they move to opening an illegal casino in their friend's house, played by Jason Mantzoukas, which is 99% of the reason I watch this movie, because I fucking love Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah. Well, but people shit on it. So did you think
it got terrible reviews?
Undeservingly so. And
I agree with you.
I can't take full credit. My favorite Twitter film critic, Chance the Rapper, he campaigned for this movie and was really upset that it didn't get more play.
I can see why critics wouldn't like this movie.
They never like these movies.
The plot's not really... The plot doesn't come together in a way that is really coherent or makes sense, but it's a fucking comedy and it's funny. And that's its primary job, and it succeeds at that.
It's good Will Ferrell. It's good Amy Poehler.
Yeah.
And it's
they have good chemistry together, too. I like them playing parents.
Yeah, top-notch Mantzoukas.
Yeah, dude. Mantzoukas at his best. Yeah, if you like him at all, you're going to love this movie. Nick Kroll plays a great villain in it.
Yep.
You also get cool cameos from people like Rory Scovel, Cedric Yarborough, Jeremy Renner at one point. Yeah, a little bit later on, he plays a mobster who comes in, and his scene, he didn't do much, but his scene was pretty fucking funny, I have to say.
Yeah, we talked about Gringo earlier in the show. This movie is filled with comedians, which I don't understand, because number one, these guys are cheaper to get than your Charlize Therons or whatever,
and they put out better work.
Everybody plays good, plays their part up really well in this movie. I enjoyed it a lot. It's dumb and fun.
Yeah. Between Frank and myself, we have both recommended The House. Don't listen to any of the negative reviews. I mean, if you like the people in this movie, you're gonna like this movie. It's not one of those things where it's oh, Will Ferrell, what are you doing? It was Will Ferrell, he wasn't overboard, he wasn't over the top. I felt like he shared the spotlight with Amy Poehler and Jason Mantzoukas. The three of them together all kind of had each other's backs, and nobody was bigger than any of the others. So that was interesting for me. It just there was a sense of camaraderie amongst them, and yeah, I think it's not going to be movie of the year for anyone, but for sitting down for an hour and a half and watching a funny comedy on HBO, you can do a lot worse.
It just sucks that right now, and we brought this up during game night, the R-rated adult comedy just isn't hitting home, where shit Daddy's Home did a lot of money.
Yeah.
What's the mom one? The mom
Bad Moms.
Bad Moms. It's because it's R-rated. It just didn't make enough money. But it's way. If you had to pick it between, I know you didn't even see any of those movies, but it's better. I'll tell you right now, it's better than this other two.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. It's a genre that's not getting any play right now, and it's a genre that critics have always shit on. I can't imagine Old School, or even I think Anchorman is one of the exceptions. I
think Anchorman was PG-13.
Yeah, but I'm saying Will Ferrell movies usually don't get well reviewed anyway, so that's part
true.
of it.
True.
But yeah, they still got it, man. They're still firing. So we forgot to mention, because we don't really watch much network TV, but Atlanta season 2 debuted March 1st. Probably my favorite show on TV right now.
Cool.
Yeah, it's up there for me with all the other shit I talk about.
I need to finish season 1. I only watched a few episodes.
Yeah, if you haven't, I highly recommend binging season 1 of the show. It's just something special, man. It captures a setting and a time unlike very few shows, and it's always entertaining, it's always keeping you guessing, and it's from the mind of Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino, another person that's on if we had our Hall of Fame, he's up there. We love him, and with good reason. And he did something interesting with season 2. It's subtitled Robin Season, where it's connected to the main story of Atlanta, but it's kind of a spin-off. It wants to say something specific. And this first episode, Alligator Man, opens with this crazy scene in a fast food restaurant. I don't want to give away too much of it, but we don't see our main characters right away, and I like that, because it's about the place. It's about the place and time as much as about our main three characters.
Right.
It's titled Alligator Man, and Cat Williams is the Alligator Man. He's a relative of Ern.
Okay.
Childish Gambino, Donald Glover's character. I don't want to give away too much about the plot, because it's a very plot driven show, but it was great. I had no concerns that this was going to be a great season, because they waited a couple years, mainly because, Donald Glover's off playing Lando Calrissian. Mm-hmm. But it just made me more hungry for these episodes. And this is a great episode. Even if you can't find season 1, you can start off on this one and kind of get an idea.
Cool.
I thought because they progressively... you watch Mr. Robot?
No.
Okay, so Mr. Robot does this thing where like episodes will go in any direction. Like the genre of the show will change. It will even go animated, and Atlanta's like this. So I thought what they did for this season premiere was cool, where they kind of toned it back a little bit. It's a very basic episode where if you did miss first season, you can kind of get caught up on what's going on, and it's definitely more of an entry level episode than just some random season 1 episode.
Okay,
so yeah,
cool.
I highly recommend it. It's probably gonna be my favorite show this year.
All right. Going back to movies, I watched one that you highly recommended before. Like I was just like crossing off things Frank recommended to me this week, basically.
About damn time.
And because as soon as I found out that Brigsby Bear was streaming on Stars, I knew what I was doing this weekend.
It's my number 2 movie of 2017.
Holy fuck, this movie was dope as shit.
Yeah, like I bought it blind, man. What do you think? Like I've said before, you can look up my thoughts on it, but what did you think?
I loved it. It's a very special kind of comedy where it's just read the description just for people that haven't heard us talk about Brigsby Bear before. Read the description for me.
Okay, Brigsby Bear Adventures is a children's TV show produced for an audience of 1. James, played by Kyle Mooney. When the show abruptly ends, James's life changes forever, and he sets out to finish the story himself.
Okay, so having seen the trailer and having heard that description and heard your review, I was not ready for the twist that happened about 15 minutes into this movie.
Yeah, which I buried. Like you want to go in as blind as possible in Brigsby.
Yes.
The way I'll describe it, I don't think it spoils too much. It'll just interest you more. Kyle Mooney plays like, imagine if E.T. was a person, was a human being, okay? Because that's basically what this is. It's like, you can't call it nostalgic because it's like nostalgic for something that doesn't exist. Like it's just like such like a slice of just wonder, like,
but it's also
wonderment
good,
and joy.
It's funny, and it is a funny movie, and it's a feel good movie, but it's also a great dramatic turn by Kyle Mooney, who, if you're familiar with him from like his YouTube videos or SNL, he's got a very awkward style of comedy.
Yeah, but he needed this. Like,
yes,
how Danny McBride needed Foot Fist Way to like just like tell the world like this is who he is. Like he's a unique voice like on that level, and this had to happen.
Yeah,
for you to fully appreciate him.
It is. It's tough because I don't want to talk about it too much, and I don't want to give away really anything. But it is a very special kind of movie. It might be my favorite thing Greg Kinnear has ever done, just because his role in it was very distinct and very unique for him.
It's the best movie Mark Hamill was in last year.
Yeah, it was. It absolutely was. And he was great in it too. Yeah. Go see Brigsby Bear if you like comedies, comedy dramas, whatever you want to call them. Like it is worth a watch. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean the reason. One of the reasons I watch movies besides just being entertained is like I want something to surprise me.
Yeah.
And just like when you think you've seen every kind of movie, Brigsby Bear is like so unique and so special that it's going to be something that I rewatch a lot, and just it's worth whatever you have to pay to see it.
My only my only problem watching this movie is not even a problem with the movie. So I was like sick as shit this weekend. You guys can probably hear a little bit in my breathing.
His voice is even deeper than usual.
I've been like coughing my fucking head off. I guess it's like a respiratory infection or whatever. And I took some Mucinex about half an hour before sitting down to watch this movie. And I didn't realize how bad it would loosen up all of the mucus inside of me. And I was like, about 10 minutes into the movie, I had to pause because I had a coughing fit so bad I thought I was about to pass the fuck out. And then going back to Brigsby Bear after basically thinking I was about to die because I was breathing so poorly and so rapidly that I thought I was going to make myself pass out. It felt like a fucking fever dream. The movie just escalated that because I was like sweating, I was hot, my throat hurt, I couldn't stop coughing, but yet I was like enraptured by this movie, and it felt like a fucking fever dream.
I can't think of many movies that would be a better deathbed movie than Brigsby Bear. I mean, if you're going to go out.
Yeah, if I got to go out, that's the way I want to go out.
It's a good movie to die to. If that's not a glowing recommendation, I don't know what is. But then finally, we can both talk about this one because I watched an episode too.
Did you just watch the first one?
Yeah, I did.
The Joel McHale show with Joel McHale?
Yeah.
It was okay.
There's only one or two, right? Because they're doing.
There's only two, yeah.
Yeah, because they're doing the Letterman thing. So we were getting ready for my girlfriend's birthday. Bar thing, not a bar crawl because we did one bar, and it was a good show. It was horrible for her because she's doing her hair and makeup, and she's like, because it's a visual show.
Right.
Obviously,
right.
This is where Joel McHale watches like internet clips and like weird TV shows, which like I think that's cool. That brings something that Tosh doesn't do. Like he like scrapes the bottom of the barrel in this weird commercials and TV shit and commentates.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, what's he doing? What's he looking at? So it definitely was one of the reasons we were late for the birthday party, if you want to blame something. But I love Joel McHale.
Yeah.
I thought, like, I don't need all the celebrity, like, cameos. I mean, it's cool. I mean,
I didn't need them.
We get that he's got friends, okay?
Yeah.
I understand. But I'm watching a show for Joel McHale because I love the guy.
It's pretty much, it's the sequel to The Soup. Mm-hmm. It's a direct sequel to The Soup. They reference it often enough that that's exactly what they're going for. But I loved, like, he does this thing where he's, like, exploring the Netflix building because he's, like, new to the Netflix family. So he keeps coming across people like Paul Reiser. And there's a scene where he meets, like, Alison Brie, who's on Glow, and Jim Rash, who was on Beyond Stranger Things or whatever, but they were all on Community together, which is like one of my fucking favorite shows of all time. So
Same.
So hearing the Community references just between the three of them just filled my heart with such joy, and it was so brief, but I'll take what I can get.
Somebody light a fire under Dan Harmon's ass because we said this before. Netflix would absolutely do the Community movie.
Yeah.
I know they would do it. Like, just look at their track record. They put out anything.
Yeah.
Like, get it done.
Yeah, he just has to write it. That's the problem. But he also has to do Rick and Morty, which is his big money maker. So it's like, what the fuck's he supposed to do?
I don't know. I know I don't want to be like a Game of Thrones fan, where like Community, like the movie is kind of like our Fire and Ice or whatever the fuck the next book's supposed to be.
I'll say this too. Like, one of the other things when I'm sick, like I have been, I try not to, especially like at night, I try not to sit down and watch anything that I think I'm going to like fall asleep during, unless I want to. And last night and into this morning, I've been rewatching season 5 of Community, which is the return of Dan Harmon season, and it's good. But I'm also at a point where that show tells a consistent story both on screen and behind the scenes. I think that to a point where if I never get a Community movie, I'm starting to become okay with that.
Oh yeah, I mean, just to get was it 5 seasons of Community?
We got 6.
6, okay.
5 with Harmon, so technically 5 good ones.
Yeah, I mean, season 4 is okay.
They literally, in the 5th season, they refer to the 4th season, which is the one where Dan Harmon got fired, and they had different showrunner and everything. They refer to that as the gas leak year. There was a gas leak at Greendale, and that was why that season was so fucking bad, is because everyone was stoked on gas leaks.
Yeah, if you think about like where everyone has, a lot of them have come far. I mean, it's a lot of our favorite people: Alison Brie, Donald Glover, Danny Pudi. Yeah, just a great show. Probably my favorite sitcom of this decade. Like, it's just so good. So if you haven't watched Community, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, even the Yahoo season, man, I like it. I think it has a lot to offer. And
can you buy that yet? Can you buy it on disc?
I have it on DVD. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's good.
Yeah, but it's also on Hulu. Even though season 6 was a Yahoo original, whatever, like Yahoo screen failed or whatever the fuck.
That was so annoying to find.
So Hulu just bought it.
Cool. All right, man. Anything else you want to talk about?
Not really. No. I'm ready to go home.
Yeah, I recovered from a hangover, and Matt's all Mucinex up. So.
I have eaten more cough drops than actual food in the last 48 hours, so I'm ready to like not be sick and actually eat a meal.
Well,
I'd love to do that.
I will tell you what you tell everyone else. First, we'll say thanks for listening, and go watch something cool. But Matt, go to bed.